and welcome to the Posts About Ghosts podcast. I'm your co-host Chellemo, and with me as always I have Aidy.
Hello.
Hello, Aidy.
Hello.
So, it's the Victorian era.
It is.
People are super into their spiritualism and paranormal and all that good stuff.
Yes.
And I think people would have really liked to have had something that was guaranteed to help them speak to the spirits.
Well, yes.
Yeah, and around 1886, a couple of guys started thinking and an idea began to manifest. Why don't you tell us about that?
I will. Okay, so the Ouija board, also known as a spirit board, talking board, or witch board, as well as
Ouija.
probably some others as well. This is actually a game that was trademarked originally with Parker Brothers, which is now owned by Hasbro.
It is.
It is. And it was patented in 1891 by businessmen Elijah Bond and Charles Kennard. I think that's how you say it. Kennard?
Sounds about right. Yeah.
Right. And however, it is a precursor to the board, is thought to date back to 1100 AD in China. And this was known as a Fuji or planchette writing, and was associated with necromancy and contact with the spirit world in such Chinese beliefs, I understand. Now, contrary to popular belief, Ouija is not named after the French and German words for yes.
Oh.
French word is oui, the German word is ja. So, no, that was the sort of popular belief. And I must confess, when I was a kid, that's what I was told, how the name came about.
When I was a kid, they told us it was a Ouija.
I always think that sounds funny.
Yeah.
It sounds like, you're pointing your finger at someone going, Ouija, like you would call someone, like they were whingy. But, the name supposedly comes from Helen Peter Nosworthy, who was actually the sister-in-law of Elijah Bond. She was conducting a session to ask the board to name itself, and she said it came back with the name Ouija, which she believes means good luck. Now, I'm saying the word believe a lot because there's a lot of different explanations for the origin of Ouija. So it's kind of difficult to nail down one which would be regarded as the all-time exclusive. So, this seems to be the consensus, the one that we're saying here. It seems to be the one that's generally accepted. The story goes that three of them, so that would be Elijah Bond, Charles Kennard, and where have you gone? Helen Peter Nosworthy. The three of them went to patent officials to patent the board, but they were dismissed and not taken seriously. So Bond realised that they were going to have to show proof of this thing working in order to get a patent. So the three of them go to the patent office to demonstrate the board. Patent official, who thinks they are full of it, says, if you can spell out my name, which it has no way of knowing, I'll give you the patent. And it did. And they got a patent.
Well, sounds fair.
How it did know his name is anybody's guess. So,
So we're not sure if it's the fact that Mr. Bond was a patent attorney or if it was her medium abilities.
Oh, whether she did actually know the name and just spelt it out and was like, oh, look, it's spelt out a name. Which, knowing me, that would be the one that I would go to first.
Well, yeah.
Anyway, it was regarded as a game unrelated to do with anything regarding the occult until somebody by the name of Pearl Curran, who was a spiritualist, popularised the game as a divining tool during World War I. I guess people wanted to contact those family, friends, or whatever who died during the conflict. So yeah, it would seem prior to that its popularity as a divining tool wasn't necessarily the most preeminent thing for it at the time.
I think in America they use them for a divining tool too.
Divining tool, divining tool, whatever.
I know a word.
Yes.
I know a word. I'm so excited. I'm usually not able to pronounce
That is
words.
funny. Anyhow, divining tool, divining tool, whatever. Scientists consider the action of using a Ouija board to be associated with and this is where you're going to correct me, because I would say this word is odometer, but you say idiomotor.
Yeah, the lady that I heard say it said idiomotor.
Yeah. Anyway, that's a phenomenon with oh my goodness me, I'll put my head back on. It's a phenomenon. Odometer, idiomotor. See, this is what happens when I get confused with how words are said. Phenomena is a psychological occurrence in which someone carries out actions subconsciously.
So they don't necessarily know that they're moving the board themselves because it's kind of done by the brain under the radar. Gotcha.
Now, and this is where I think it's kind of interesting. Many religious organizations regard this as divination, and it is forbidden to practice the use of Ouija. It's regarded not merely as being a harmless game, but rather a way of contacting the deceased or demons, and has been regarded as being a form of witchcraft, which I find kind of interesting. There are many, should we say, major religious organizations that regard it as such. Now, my view of this is, if this is simply a harmless game and doesn't have any real world consequences, shall we say, why are religious organizations, and major, we're not talking fringe here, we're talking major religious organizations, so hot to trot with it? That seems rather bizarre to me. Now, just to sort of finish off the Ouija section from the notes that we have here, the Ouija board has been used frequently in popular culture, including movies, video games, TV shows, ghost hunting shows, online shows. Yeah, it's quite popular, and yeah, you do see it quite often that people will be doing their investigations, and if everything's quiet, you can guarantee that somebody will crack out the Ouija board in an attempt to stir things up, shall we say.
We played with Ouija boards at slumber parties when we were kids.
Never did. Never have.
Yeah. And we did another game called, I know I'm getting off topic, but we did another game called Light as a Feather, Stiff as a Board, where one of the girls would lay down on the floor and the rest would get around them and put 2 fingers each underneath the girl on the floor, and then we would all say, light as a feather, stiff as a board, light as a feather, stiff as a board, as we raise the girl up with 2 fingers each. And I mean, when you got 10 girls, it's it's harder to get everybody in the circle with as many girls as we had, but of course, we lifted the girl up and everybody screamed and, oh no, the devil's coming. And but we played with Ouija as kids.
I'm just thinking to myself how there is absolutely no way on earth I would have trusted any of my friends to do that. I would have ended up out the window. There's absolutely no way. They would have just grabbed me, picked me up, and thrown me either, down the stairs or out the window. I mean, that's the type of thing we would have done. There would have been no incantation. It would have been, look at that idiot, let's get him.
Yeah.
Like, what are you doing? Oh, I want you to do this. Yeah, okay. Light as a feather, stiff as a board.
Maybe not so much light as a feather.
Yeah. You go sailing out the window, yeah.
Yeah. All right, so now that we know what Ouija is and kind of a little bit about where it comes from,
Yeah,
our urban legend this week is Zozo the Ouija board demon.
that's right.
So it's time to bring him onto the scene.
Mm.
On March 24th in 2009, a blog post shows up on the website True Ghost Tales. It's authored by a guy named Darren Evans, who claims to have a fascination with the occult. Now, Darren says that he did a lot of experiments using the Ouija board, and he said that many times a spirit that called itself Zozo would come through. Then, after the Ouija sessions, the spirit began manifesting in his real world around him.
Right.
Now, there's a girl on YouTube who did a deep dive into the history of Zozo. Her channel is called Jenny Twigs. You should go check that out. I'll put a link up to it in the show notes so that everybody can look at that. It's a really good deep dive into exactly how Zozo came about and what's going on with it. She says that she used an advanced Google search to find that Darren Evans is the very first person to ever mention Zozo on the internet.
Yeah.
He mentioned it first on the Led Zeppelin website and then on his True Ghost Tales website. And that is actually archived, and I found a link for that post. So I will post in the show notes the actual blog post that he made. But she did say that she did some further digging and found other posts earlier than Mr. Evans that seemed to debunk that he made the word Zozo up, but she couldn't find any earlier link to Zozo and the Ouija board. So take that as you will. Linking to the Ouija board may have come from the movie Exorcist.
Yeah.
That movie was about a girl who got possessed after using a Ouija board. And the movie refers to an old Mesopotamian demon called Pazuzu.
Right.
Pazuzu, Zozo. I can see where. And one thing about Americans learn through association.
Yeah.
So if there's any way to associate two things, we will find it. So that may have been how Zozo got associated.
Yeah. It is sort of like associated with Ouija.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that might be how that happened. But it is notable that in the movie The Exorcist, they didn't call the entity that Reagan met through the Ouija board Zozo.
No.
In the movie, they called it Captain Howdy.
Yeah.
That name, I haven't heard that name in years, but I'll never forget it. Such a good name for a demon, Captain Howdy.
Yeah. You know what was interesting in doing a bit of research for this is I could not find a specific Wikipedia entry for Zozo.
Right.
I know. I mean, that was strange. I will double check right this very moment. If I type in, it helps if me thing types in properly. It brings up a list, as it does. So it comes up like, you got your arts and entertainment. And one of the really weird things is that this name appears is a British name of the fictional character Curious George, which was a monkey, this children's picture book monkey, yeah. That was one of the things I noticed that I thought was kind of funny.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's quite a few references. There was a Greek actress called Zozo Zarpa. Zozo, the nickname of the town Carrizozo in New Mexico. Okay. It's a Japanese clothing brand. It's a golf tournament.
Everywhere.
There's a Zozo Marine Stadium, which I believe is a baseball and rugby union stadium in Japan. I guess that must be what's named after the clothing brand, because say the Zozo is a Japanese clothing brand. And then you get Zozo, a demon believed to be summoned by playing a Ouija board, but there's no hyperlink. So there's no actual, it's just that's all the reference there is to it on Wikipedia, but there's no actual link to that. So there's no details about it whatsoever.
I find that fascinating considering how many videos I found about him on YouTube.
And with reference to the Led Zeppelin 4, also known as Zoso, Zoso, is the 1971 album by Led Zeppelin.
Yes.
So, yeah, but there's links to a lot of the other stuff, but not that. That's it. On Wikipedia, that is the only entry. There's no link. There's nothing to click on, apart from Ouija, obviously, in that sentence, which I thought was kind of interesting. As you say, it's quite big in popular culture. I mean, there's even a film. Let me just go back. There's I Am Zozo, a 2012 American horror film. Now, that's got a link, but yeah, there is nothing specific relating to it as the Ouija board demon. There's no details. There's no page for it, I guess is what I'm going to say.
It's almost like with this entity, there are lots and lots of puzzle pieces, but none of them really fit together tightly.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, there's a lot of maybes and a lot of possibilities, but no direct connect in many places to get an actual origin story for Zozo.
Which is surprising to me, given the fact that there's even a film with its name in the title. But there's normally Wikipedia, you can find entries for loads of like stuff, some of it quite obscure. So you would think that there would be, because there's definitely other entries. Pazuzu is on Wikipedia, because I was reading up about that, in doing a bit of research for this. But that's what I mean. When I went to look for Zozo, I was like, there's nothing here. This is very odd, apart from just that one line entry in the general search page. So
I've even found people who make a connection between Zozo and the original inspiration case that inspired The Exorcist.
yeah,
A boy who he would later confirm to be Ronald Hunkler.
yeah,
But at the time when this story broke, he was only known as Roland Doe.
yeah,
He was a boy from Maryland who learned how to communicate with spirits using a Ouija board with his aunt that he was very close to. And then his aunt dies and he's mourning. He's missing his aunt. And one day he's looking through a trunk that belonged to her and found the old Ouija board that she used to teach him how to talk to spirits on. So he thought, hey, I'll try to connect with my aunt and see if it works. And supposedly, the first time he tried this, nothing happened at all with the board. He just got nothing. But the family begins to hear water dripping from everywhere. They can't find it. This turns into thumps and bangs and scratches appearing on the walls to the point that the family calls a plumber and an exterminator to come out. Both of them come and find absolutely.
Did they come at the same time?
Yeah.
That would have been an interesting
well, I
day.
don't. Yeah, I don't think they came at the same time, but they did both come, and they both did clear the house for nothing. They couldn't find anything going on.
Now, does it say that there was any? Did you say any personal injury? Because normally people say they get scratched, don't they? Not the walls.
Not with the family. However, the boy starts to behave very awkwardly.
Right.
Very strange and out of character. He becomes violent to the point that his mother gets a doctor involved.
Yeah.
and who gets a psychiatrist involved. He has a whole medical team trying to figure out what's going on with this kid, because here he is with marks showing up on his body, and he is screaming a low guttural scream all
Yeah.
the time, night and day, just without stopping, wearing his body down, and his mother's last nerve.
Yeah.
Just she doesn't know what to do. One of the visits with his doctor, they noted that a word began to appear on his body,
Right.
and the word was Bowdern. Nothing came of that. The family were spooked enough that they tried to contact the aunt with the Ouija board to find out what was going on and if she could help.
Yeah.
Well, when the family did this, the feeling in the air instantly changed, and a chair was hurled across the living room.
Right.
The next morning, welts appeared on the boy's legs. Marks on his body are now saying the words St. Louis. So you've got Bowdern and St. Louis at this point written out.
Right.
The family was told that they should probably call the Catholic Church at this point. The doctors are like, it can't hurt. Let's get somebody else involved.
Yeah.
Well, the family is like, you know what? We're done with this. If this is a haunting, we're just going to move.
Yeah.
Maybe the ghost will just stay here. Would you like to guess where they went?
Go on.
If you said St. Louis, you would be correct.
Well,
I would have never gone to St. Louis if a demon told me to. I don't think I would have ended up there, but they
that
did.
doesn't seem to be the instinctive option.
And guess what else? The boy doesn't get well.
Surprise.
It gets worse. And the family finally breaks down and says, okay, let's get the Catholic Church involved. This is where they meet Father William Bowdern.
Wow.
Amazing. It's either a sign from Jesus or a sign from the devil. I wouldn't know what to think at this point. I'm like, who is actually driving this bus? I don't know.
Yeah,
But here we are.
That's a weird one for sure.
Well, in the beginning, Father William Bowdern doesn't really think anything's going on. He thinks it's probably a case of hysterical person syndrome.
Yeah.
But he wants to help them out. And he wants to make them feel better. So he does agree to come and visit the home. He brings with him another priest named Raymond Bishop. And they come to the house. When they see the boy, they begin to do an exorcism of the demon.
Right.
After the first session, they go home. And when they meet the next morning, they say, yeah, this is the real thing. These people need help. This is definitely the devil.
Yeah.
In the end, they asked, years later, they asked Father Bowden if he believed it was the real thing. And years later, he still said, oh yeah, this was the devil. So Father Bowden recommends that they take the boy to a place where he can continue the exorcism without the mother having to be right there, because she's just had it. Her nerves are frazzled. She doesn't know what to do. She's scared to death and worried about her kid. And it's just not helping to have her have to be right there while they do this. So Father Bowden recommends that they take the boy to a hospital that's ran by Catholic monks, and it's close to where he himself lives, so he can be right there if anything should happen. Roland is placed in a private room on a private floor above the psychiatric ward. So he's up there by himself.
Yeah.
And they start the exorcisms.
Right.
I don't have a whole lot of detail about the step-by-steps of this exorcism, but the articles do say that this exorcism ultimately worked, and the boy went on to live a normal life.
Right. Well, that's good to know.
I did find that there is a connection with the younger priest just said his name, but the younger priest that came along with Father Bowdern, he, you know what? I have forgotten how to read apparently because I am really struggling. I think the devil is trying to stop this episode. So, Father Bowdern recommends that the boy be taken away to a place where they can do the exorcism pretty much without tormenting his mother. There, another priest gets involved named Father Halloran. And he would begin to visit the boy and try to keep his spirits up. This is the one, I don't know if, I'm sure you've seen The Exorcist.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the movie, the priest that comes is taunted by the devil. The devil tells him that his mother is burning in hell, and he begins to use the priest's mother's voice to taunt him. This was inspired by Father Halloran's visits with the boy. On one of the days he was sitting with him, the devil told him that his mother was rotting in hell.
Lovely.
So that was incorporated into the movie. I found that interesting there.
Yeah.
In all of this, ultimately the boy is cured. He goes on to live a normal life. And there is absolutely no mention in the story of Zozo that I could find.
Right.
So I'm wondering if this is just a case of everything kind of getting lumped together that has anything to do with an exorcism, a Ouija board. I don't know, maybe we can even throw in the letter Z. It's kind of like just a jumble of a lot of different things going on that are similar, but not necessarily connected.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that Zozo is more than likely the new age internet urban legend.
Yeah. Yeah, I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah, I hate to say that because this is my policy with demons. You know I have an irrational fear of demons.
Yeah.
I believe that you can draw an entity close to you by thinking about it. So normally my policy for demons is the same as with the entity Candyman.
Yeah.
Candyman came back because people stopped believing in him. I think that is a very good policy to have when you're talking about demons. Just keep believing and they will stay away.
Yeah.
So I believe. I don't need proof. I don't want proof. You exist. You're the goat. Leave me alone. But yeah, this one, I find a lot of similarities, but no direct connections. So I'm going to guess that this is the modern day urban legend.
Yeah.
And to me, even though it doesn't really amount to much, it's kind of exciting because it says that people are still being creative and still have a passion for the paranormal.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the best takeaway from the Zozo story.
Yeah, I think so.
However,
Mm.
just in case I'm wrong,
Yeah.
let's go over some of the things that Zozo is known to do.
Okay.
When Zozo comes through, famously, the planchette will begin to swing back and forth.
Just one sec.
Yep.
Okay, I just didn't know whether my mic was picking up any background noise. So I was just.
Well, you know it
pushing the
is
door
because
too.
this is the episode from hell.
Well, yeah. I just didn't want you to get part way through and then need to redo anything.
Oh, there's no redoing this. If this doesn't work, this is going in the bin. When Zozo comes through, famously, the
Yes.
planchette will begin to swing back and forth between the letters Z and O.
That's right. Now, are they the opposite ends of the board?
They are.
Yeah.
Yeah. They are on each, and it was actually noted by the girl who did the deep dive on Zozo that if you're depending on how you're sitting, if you're sitting there with your hands up for a long time, your arms are going to start to get tired.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting on each end of the board, as your arms get tired, you kind of start to naturally lean backwards. So between the two people getting tired, that would start kind of a rocking motion, maybe,
Yeah.
where they're both trying to sit back. And that could be one explanation, but yeah, that's supposedly what happens. The planchette will move back and forth between the Z and the O.
Right.
This is my question, and it's always been my question. Which came first, the chicken or the egg? Was it Zoe or was it Oz? I need to know because there's a big difference. Oz could mean so many things. Oz could be a spirit of a guy named Ozzy. Or maybe it's an Australian or something. You know, maybe
Right.
the planchette is going wild because it's a mad Australian saying, "Look, I'm an Aussie, you idiot." I don't know. But the Z and the O are the common elements.
Yeah.
That has even been known to change up to Mama and Zaza, different things. Lots more things that are unrelated, but somehow are getting connected
Yeah.
to this story. So when you get Zozo,
When you get him on the phone.
yep, when you get him on the phone, like a phone a friend,
Yeah.
Zozo is known to move outside of the session.
Yes.
He escapes the whole goodbye thing. He likes to mimic a friendly spirit at first, then he shifts into threatening and manipulative behavior.
That sounds like a real person.
Yeah, right. He causes emotional and psychological distress,
Yeah.
anxiety, dread, mood changes. Yeah, getting more and more like real people
Yeah.
every day. He gives ominous predictions on the board involving harm or disturbing images. He's a predictor of doom,
Sounds like the average X user.
right?
Yeah.
He's doom scrolling.
Yeah, he is.
So after the Ouija sessions, though, if people hear noises, they see shadows in their house, they start having nightmares. He's been known to target women and children more aggressively than men. So it looks like I'd be in more danger than you if we started playing with the Ouija board. But that's all good. You'll look after me. You'll take care.
Yeah, because I don't do this. For a skeptic, by the way, I just don't mess with that type of thing, which is just where my line in the sand.
You know, isn't it funny that that's so with the Ouija board? You'll get people who swear up and down they don't believe in anything like that. Just like the girl in the video was saying, there'll be people that she tried to get to do an experiment with Ouija, and they said that they didn't believe in anything like that. And she says, "Oh, well, okay, then will you play with a Ouija board for me for an experiment?" And they said, no, it's okay. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. So it's funny how Ouija brings out fear in people that just claim to absolutely not believe in this at all. It lends more credibility to the Catholic Church or the churches that say, don't mess with that. It's not a toy.
Yeah.
So there's something there. There's something about the Ouija that brings up an energy, a dark energy that people just don't want to mess with.
Well, I think it's because it's the action of actually doing something where, it's not like you...
Well, that scares the hell out of me. So.
You know what I mean? You're not walking into a place and just saying something. You are actually specifically doing something with the intent. And that's like...
To draw out a spirit, yeah.
Yeah.
So, what say you?
What, whether I think it's a thing or not?
You're going to go with urban legend? Yeah.
This is a tough one. Because I think people can be psychologically influenced to believe that anything that might go wrong is the result of something like this. And therefore, I think that it's a difficult one in the sense that, like a self-fulfilling prophecy, if you know what I mean by that.
Yeah.
So I think what defines it is, if you don't mess with any of that in the first place, then you're not put into a particular mindset. So you can't blame that using the board or whatever. You can't blame that for things that might be going wrong. Whereas if you do use it and things go wrong, the things probably would have gone wrong regardless. But
Yeah.
I think it puts you into a predisposed state. And what was interesting is, for example, one of the effects of this was psychological anxiety, dread, mood changes, things like that. Ominous predictions, which catastrophizing is a thing that people with anxiety can go to. As somebody who's had his fair share of that, you can start to paint the worst case scenario as the go-to thing that will definitely happen. So I think anybody with any predisposition to that, using this, and then kind of, the whole Zozo thing happening, if you have a predisposition to it, which a lot of people do, yeah, I think then there's this sort of fear that can come into it. So yeah, I think there is something with it, whether or not it's a real entity.
Yeah, it could very well be a demon that likes to make people think they're crazy.
Well, yeah.
Make other people think they're crazy. There are medical health professionals that say that very well what could be happening here is this is a manifestation of the user's own personal fears or desires, and they are subconsciously revealing them.
Which often is referred to as a personal demon.
That's it. I've got one.
Yeah,
Don't we all?
we do.
Oh my goodness. So yeah, and you know me. I have a gypsy spirit. I cannot stay in one place too long, so I can't plant my flag in either camp. It could be real. I want to hold on to that because I don't want it to show up tonight when I'm trying to sleep and say, "Oh, you don't believe in me? Is that it?"
Yeah.
I don't want anything like that going on. But then again, I see so much evidence that it's just this new. I mean, you look on YouTube and it's about a 1 for 3. 1 out of every 3 is going to have something to do with Ouija and the Zozo.
Yeah.
Not really 1 out of 3, but it seemed like it. I had no trouble finding videos to watch of people actually doing the experiment. There was more video content of people doing the experiment than there was of content explaining what was actually going on.
Yeah.
So I think this is something that was cool and it caught fire. Could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah. The weird thing with all of this always comes back to me and my issue with the whole Ouija thing. People are touching the planchette and moving it.
Yeah.
And therefore, the whole idea is, you got to be in a relaxed state. You just lightly put your fingers on it. There's a reason, because somebody's going to lead that. If you're the person who's face on to the board, in other words, you're the one sat with the board orientated in the right direction, that is going to be the person that leads it, because they're going to be spelling out the words. The other person is going to feel where the planchette is going and just go with it. It's a subconscious thing because you've been told to just relax and go where you feel it's going, and not to resist, not to try and physically pull it. Well, one person's going to lead that.
And, if idiomotor is a thing, if it's a real medical scientific thing, then they may not even know that they're leading. It could be very subconscious. Whoever is leading doesn't necessarily mean that they're trying to pull a con or fake anybody
Yeah,
out.
no, I mean, this is it. I'm not, I just think that I would like to see it move itself,
Yeah.
hands off the board.
Yeah. If you can scratch the walls and knock on the walls and all this stuff, you can move a planchette.
Yeah, throw things across the room.
You don't need my fingers there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Get on that planchette.
Yeah. That's it. That's the whole thing with me. Any kind of physical contact, as far as, with anything on the board, you cannot, from a purely scientific basis, prove that is moving by some kind of guiding influence that is not somebody doing it themselves. I know the idea is they become a conduit. I understand the stuff behind it, but I just find that the idea that there's anything going on other than somebody moving it themselves, very difficult to disprove in that situation.
Well, as you know, I do have a Ouija board. I actually bought one because I take photographs. I like to take photographs, and I thought that having a Ouija board might be a good thing for some stock photography, but I have never touched it I have never tried to contact any I am too terrified of demons to ever use it by myself in that way, so it's pretty much brand new out of the box. But I did open it up and sit it on the bed behind me, and I'm just looking, and it hasn't moved at all by itself.
There you go. I mean, like I say, I need to stress I'm not implying anything, people doing it untoward. I'm just saying that where there could be explanation, like, the subconscious, if people want to equate that to the spirit world working through someone, that's fine if that's a belief that somebody has. For me personally, I know I've said I would never mess with one, but that's just me. I just don't.
You will when you're with me.
No.
I'm bringing mine. We're going to do
No. Hell no. I'll watch you do it, but I'm not.
it. Well, all right then.
Yeah. But no, like what I'm saying is, I'm not being dismissive or anything like that. I just think it's very difficult to convince anybody of a sort of scientific slant that while you've got any contact with something, that it's not a person moving it of their own free will.
Yeah.
There's a lot to take on faith and a lot to take on somebody saying, oh no, I wasn't focused on it. It was acting, I was just a mere conduit. That's a lot to take on for any skeptic to believe that, simply because of that physical contact with it. But yeah, those are my thoughts.
Basically, the answer is who knows?
Who knows? Indeed.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But I don't need any proof. That's all I know. In no way, shape, or form by releasing this podcast am I asking the demon to prove itself to me. I'm not.
Yeah, me neither.
I am going to move on to our one question.
Yes.
And you're going to go first this week because I did last week.
And my question is, what would you do? So, speaking of which, and it's handy that you say that you have your aforementioned board behind you. If you, and you just said,
I'm not touching it.
You just said you turned around and it's not moved. If you turned around and you saw it moving of its own accord, and it spelt out your name, what would you do?
If I saw it do that.
Nobody's touching it. You're not touching it. You've not even done anything. You've not opened a session. Nothing. It's just there. You turn around and you see the planchette is moving and it's spelling your name out.
Right. Well, the first thing I'm going to not do is touch it. I would probably leave the room.
Yeah.
If I saw something as undeniable as that had to do with a Ouija board, knowing what I know about Ouija, I would probably try to get religious advice from the church.
Right.
It's either that or tip the medical profession off that I'm not right in the head and probably end up in a white room with rubber walls. So yeah, I would opt first to get the church involved. That would be my thing.
But you wouldn't film it? You wouldn't grab your phone and record it?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think I'd be able to stay in here with it.
All right.
If you were here, it would be different. If it has a lot to do with whether or not I am alone.
Yeah.
Because I have a way, I am such an irresponsible person. My brain has a way of assigning other people to be in charge. So as long as I'm not by myself, I could probably stay and assist with whatever.
Yeah.
Because in my head, I would be like, okay, I'm not as long as somebody else is here, I'm not in charge. I'm not going to get in trouble with Jesus for this.
Right.
It's on them, not me. And I could probably stick around. But yeah, if I was by myself, nope, I wouldn't be able to film it. I would be the one who wasted the golden opportunity to get undeniable evidence because I would leave.
Right.
And that's just the sad truth. I'm sorry, that's not
That's
an
perfectly
exciting
fine.
answer, but that's the answer.
That's the truthful answer. That's what we want.
Is it though?
Well, yeah. Because if you'd have said that you would have stuck around, I would have been calling BS, because I know that you would have been making for the for the nearest exit the minute you saw that.
Yeah, there's just no way.
Yeah, I would have been like,
That would have been one of the times where I would have overcome my fear and been able to move. I think just like with the bat in my room, if something's going on in my room that's absolutely terrifying, I already have historical evidence that I will cut and run.
Yes.
So that's probably what would happen. How about you? You ready for a question?
I am. I believe it's what I believe.
It is. So, with this whole goodbye thing on the Ouija board, they say that you can make a demon leave by ending the session with goodbye. Do you believe that a demon from hell is limited by such an action of a human? Do you believe that once you let a demon in, he, by some cosmic obligation, has to go away if you say goodbye?
No. No, I don't believe that.
That never made sense to me.
Never makes sense to me either. This thing which can...
I don't trust it.
That can travel, cross dimensions of space and time, and you just go, bye, and then it's like, oh, God, I've got to go. No, I don't believe that at all. I don't think that you can invoke anything and then just shut it off and say goodbye, and then that's it. Especially when I've seen it done, and people just move the thing over, say bye, and then they just carry out session over. I just don't see that. There's... How can something be that powerful yet be so easily controlled?
So limited, yeah. What I would question is if that is the policy, if that's how it works, who's in charge of that? Is it like the devil himself that's like, all right, they said goodbye, you got to get out. Everybody out of the pool.
Yeah.
Or are they self-regulated? Like, oh, damn, they said goodbye, I got to leave. Who is driving the bus here?
Yeah, that's it. It just, I don't think that you can just go, right, we're closing the session now, goodbye, and then just that's it.
Yeah.
No, let's take some questions from our audience. It's like, no, I don't think that works like that in the slightest. I think
I think it's wishful thinking.
Yeah, I do too. I think most people are thinking to themselves, oh, well, get that out of the way. All right, we're fine now. Let's carry on. And no, I think if there is something to it, you can't just close it off by moving a piece of wood or plastic from one part of a piece of wood or plastic to another. I just don't think that if you're talking about this level of power which something would have, as you've described on what it does, I don't believe that in the slightest. I think that you would have to have some form of proper closing being done in a ritualistic sense.
It seems to me like this may have been something that came up in product testing in the original design of the board.
Yeah.
Maybe they were having trouble getting people to use it because they were like, I'm not letting something come through that. Then what am I going to do with it? So they said, we better put goodbye on here and say, no, it's okay. You can make them go away. Just try it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that might have been wishful thinking on the...
Well, from all accounts, it doesn't work anyway. I mean, you just said yourself with Zozo, it doesn't work. It's like
it
once
doesn't work for him.
Once they're through the door, they're not just going to turn around with their head down and go, bye, and then go. It does. I don't think that works because it doesn't work in the real world either.
I think it more than likely has a tie to getting people to use it.
Yeah, I think so.
If I had it and I was wanting to sell it and people were saying, no thanks, I'm not letting a demon in my house, I would try to figure out a way to make them feel more comfortable.
Yeah, me too.
That would probably be where I would go. I will say that I am a person that believes that even though it was created as a toy, if you give something enough attention, you can manifest it. And I believe that something like Ouija boards give them attention.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Not because the Ouija board is anything special at all, but because the attention is what's special about it. So I think it possibly could be used as a tool to manifest a spirit.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's fully functional as a bouncer.
Yeah.
So, is that it? Is this nightmare over?
I think so.
The nightmare episode? I'll just say right now, this has been an absolute nightmare to get recorded. I don't know if it's the demons that are fighting us. I don't know what is going to be left in this podcast and what is going to get taken out in editing when I sit down and get started, but just letting everybody know at this point that I am very glad that we made it this far.
It was a tough one.
It was.
Yeah.
I think that out of the couple hours we've been recording, we'll probably end up with about 15 minutes of usable content. But hey, we'll see.
We'll see.
It's been fun, Aidy.
It has. It has.
Thank you for sitting down and talking demons with me.
My pleasure.
And if anybody else wants to tell their story, please send it to stories@postaboutghosts.com.
Yes.
And let us tell your story.
Indeed.
We also want to hear what you guys want to hear.
Yeah.
Tell us how we're doing. Tell us what's great. Tell us what sucks. And tell us what you hope to see if this thing carries on into a season 2 at some point.
Yes.
Follow us on social media. You can find all the links on our website, top right corner. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah.